ask a certain set of questions, you can do that. If you, is there another shelter close by? Well, whatever you want to do, you can customize this for the solicitations if you want. You don't have to, but you can.
I'm just curious as to why we would have a question in there, going back to checking the box. Why would we have a question in there if we're not going to score it? What's an example of that?
You wouldn't. Okay, you wouldn't. I was just showing you that if you forget to check the box, it's not going to load points in. So if you do have a question that doesn't have any points next to it, it's because you didn't check the box. Because you can type all over. In that section, you can type 9 questions. And if you forget to check the box for each one, none of those questions are going to have any points loaded in.
So if after we put this thing together, we decide we don't really want to ask all those questions, then we would uncheck the boxes.
You would delete the questions out. Yeah, you would just remove the questions. When you remove the questions, like if you come in here and you take this out,
it's gone.
If you don't uncheck the box, you're going to have a 0 with 5 points.
Okay.
So you got to remember to uncheck the box.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter the order. You can do this and then you can skip all the way down to here and do another one. And what's going to happen is you're going to have a bunch of blanks and then here it's going to have your question. So, you can do it wherever you want, but it's how it loads it in based off of the formula.
So, our CJAC member is going to be filling out our paper, since we don't have the 25
Right.
So we can still, before we sit down, we're going to have to individually rekey all the responses in, correct?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, the only way it can all load up into that spreadsheet is if we go tab by tab by tab.
Yeah.
And rekey the responses.
Yeah, you would have to, let's say you have 25 CJAC members, you would have to have 25 Excel sheets, because this is basically one CJAC member's Excel sheet.
Yeah.
And then, so you would have to have 25. You would print this, if you printed it, you would print this one, the Winter Garden Women's Shelter one, 25 times and hand it out, and they would fill it out, and then you would tally up the scores and however you normally do it to get the average score, and that's what you submit to CJD. So, however you would normally do it. I don't know if they normally did it on paper, and then you had to rekey or whatever you had to do. You would continue to do it that way. Because this is just the actual scoring mechanism for the individual CJAC members. You have to take that scoring document and then figure out what you want to do with it.
So do you have computers we can borrow to let our CJACs use?
No. So if you wanted to take it and rekey it and do this 25, save this 25 times and rekey it, I can create, when we did our drug court scoring, we did something very, very similar for them. They basically completed the document and sent it back to us. They did some remote scoring for us. They sent it back to us. We took that and created a summary sheet that was based off of formulas, and it just loaded the data in for us. We didn't have to rekey anything. Just loaded the data into our summary sheet. No, I'm not going to say that.
At the end of the day, you just want that spreadsheet that we're looking at right now. However we get
I don't even want the spreadsheet.
You just want the score.
I want the score entered into eGrants.
Okay,
That's
so
all I want.
If we can find a better way to build the mousetrap as we're going along, not violent, then we,
Yep. If let's say that you create this document and you're saying, but I've created my document. And so I know what questions I have to ask. I know what score I have to give each score. If you want to recreate something that has the same questions, the same scoring, do whatever you need. I'm never going to see this again. So I guess unless you're monitored. And we are going to start that, by the way. Surprise! But unless we come and monitor your contracts, I'm never going to see these. So if you needed to recreate this,
well,
have at it.
It may be easier just to put it on an abbreviated one monster spreadsheet, so you're not tabbing back and forth. But if we've got the freedom to do that.
Yes.
Okay, we got the, so when the monitors come up, we just show them one sheet as opposed to.
Because what you could do is, and I can do this on here if you want. On this data sheet here, what what we did for drug courts was there was a column over here, and it said total score. And what it, or it's, I think it was average maybe. Or was it? It was, yeah, I think it was it was the total. This is one score. So it was the total score. So it would take the total in that column and it would put it in this column here. So it would be like 95, and this one would be like 87, and this would be 90. And then what we did was we just took the summary column, this summary page basically, and copied it into an Excel workbook for every single score. And then there was a summary page. So we didn't have to do math. The Excel document did all the math for us. And so that's how we were able to not have to rekey anything, is this. And I can do that here, but it only works if you've keyed in the numbers. So it only works if you've actually entered in numbers here. And then you can see, it gives you, here now the total score is 10. And then what would happen is it would take the value that's in this box and put it here. I can do that.
Put it where?
I would have to create a column. Yeah, I would create a column. It's invisible right now.
I was gonna say, I don't see that.
If use your imagination, there would be a total score column right here. There would be a total score column in our imaginary world here. And I could do that, but you would have to key in the scores into this document in order for the math to work, because I can't read your mind.
Do you think CJD would entertain a grant request for 25 lifetime scores?
Okay.
You could certainly try.
Do a cover sheet that just grabbing this column right here.
That's what I'm saying. What would happen is, if we did that, what would happen is, this would be one scorer's sheet, basically. There would be a summary document where you just grab this and paste it into the summary document, and then there would be a summary of the summary. But
unless that one in E-grants and put the scores themselves,
then
it doesn't really mean.
Right, it doesn't do that. Okay, so
Well,
back
go
to
back
the.
what you were saying though. You could create a summary document.
I could.
Okay. Well, this is where I'm going with this. I mean, we're looking at, I know, I'm sorry, but we're looking
Sorry.
at the possibility.
I just killed myself for offering to create a summary sheet.
Well, I'm just looking for a solution, because this is going to be a big job.
So
When
how
you've
did
got
your
50
how did your
applicants
CJAX score before? Was it paper? I know some of you have an online system, but how did you score before? Was it paper? Did they take a piece of paper and handwrite their
Yes.
scores in, and they gave those to you, and then you keyed them into a system?
And then we tabulated them.
Then you would still do that. It's the
Okay.
same thing.
Okay,
This
well,
is
that's
just
what I'm.
this just takes the place of your old paper document. It's the
Okay.
new paper document. And so they would still turn them in, and you would still tabulate them however you tabulated them
Okay,
before.
okay, but we'll just have to, but we're gonna have the extra step now of actually keying them in.
No, you don't have to.
You
You
don't have
don't
to key in at all.
have to key in anything.
We're just,
This-
okay.
This just,
I'm with you, I got you.
just creates
I
the
got you.
score sheet. This
Okay.
score sheet replaces
Okay.
your old score sheet.
And then you get your
How-
calculator, you go
I
like
got
this
you.
and write it in there. And
I got
That's
you
the
now.
only thing that this thing has to do is create your score sheet.
Okay, I'm
If
following.
you wanted to do math, you can key it in.
I
But,
don't wanna.
okay, all
I
right,
don't wanna key it in.
so we're gonna move on.
Thank you.
All right, so that is how it works if you're not weighting your local priorities. All right, and